So you want a cow. You have visions of butter and cheese and milk and ice cream all dancing in your head, and you're ready to take the plunge. But wait, here are 3 things that most people don't consider when purchasing their first cow. When I bought my first cow, I didn't even think about disease testing. I thought if I found a healthy-looking animal, the risk was relatively low. Although some diseases are rare, this one is not. According to the USDA, nearly 100% of dairy herds have a Johne's positive cow. This means if you buy a cow who isn't, quote, much older than 2, such as a calf, you will not know for years if your cow has been infected. By the time you find out, your property is already contaminated. It's a terrible way to start. Another terrible way is what happened to me. I bought it from a dairy, got her home. I spent months handling her to get her to where I could work with her. I had the vet out. We drew blood, standard panel, thinking probably find nothing, but it's a good idea. The results were positive for Q fever. Now you've probably never heard of Q fever. In fact, it's so rare my vet hadn't even suggested testing for it. And because of the positive result, and it being a reportable disease, the CDC called me, and I had to deal with that. That was a terrible first experience and nearly stopped me from ever pursuing my dream of having a family milk cow. This is how you can prevent this happening to you. But I won't lie, it's going to be hard to find someone willing to test, but you do the best you can. But hopefully together, we can change that. Okay, let's discuss horns. Now there's typically 2 reasons people advocate to keep horns. The one reason that I feel might have merit is thermoregulation. People say that the horns help them. The problem with that theory is that many cattle are born without horns. They genetically don't grow horns, and they do just fine with the heat. Not only that, but some people I've seen, even on YouTube, have cattle that are horned, and they've noticed that they still deal with the heat poorly despite having horns compared to their cattle that don't have horns and handle the heat even better without the horns. The second reason some people say that horns are important and you should keep them is because they feel real cows or some breeds traditionally have horns. You can keep the genetic trait of horns in your cattle and just disbud them as calves. That way you can keep the breed and the genetics that you want, however you can be safe at the same time. People that say real cows have horns bring up the other phrase that I hear some people say, like, real men don't cry. And that reasoning just doesn't suit me. I think cows can have horns if it suits you and that's what you want. These are just some things to think about. Some people who've never had cows don't consider the aspects of property damage. Another reason horns can be a problem is that you might have to build your milk stand, just everything, walkways, to accommodate horns because they can't get their heads in the same spaces that cows without horns can. So it's harder to find equipment such as hay feeders, milking stands, chutes, and other equipment. Your farrier may not be equipped to deal with cattle that have horns. If you use a vet or a farrier, that might be a problem. Their equipment may not accommodate horned cattle. It is something to think about. The choice is ultimately yours. But it is something that you might want to think about so you can make an educated decision for yourself and what's right for you. So your options about horns are buying genetically hornless cows, which is called a polled cow. The other option is Dehorn, and this is, for me, the easiest option. Move. 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 Miss Moo, I think you have a visitor. Oh, goodness. That is not a good spot to lay an egg. Why are you in here? Thanks. Thank you for knocking that all out with your horns. Oh, now he's going to take it off the wall. Oh.